Okay, seems like we are live. Just want to make sure that the audio and the video is there. Let me just all right, cool. Great. Well, so this is a different setting. And for the many of you who are here with me live, you are in store for a great thing. Because today we're going to talk about something that is very, how should I call it? The hype of the market, right? Emerald of Katong. That is what we are going to cover. And let me just make sure that in terms of the audio and the video, everything is okay. Awesome. Well, so first of all, 83% sold. Of course, I'm not talking about Emerald Katong now, okay? It's actually Norwood Grand. So yeah, for the many of you who have been balloting this since this morning, congratulations. You've gotten your uh, ideal unit. So it seems like the balance are all the bigger four bedrooms units. And congratulations to those who have actually gotten your unit. And well, 83%. Has been the highest record so far for new launches. And previously, we have about 50% for ADP, some of the other projects, right? So let's see here, right? So you hear from me here first, the talk of the town. Why Norwood Grand? I mean, I think from our research, it's always about the lowest quantum, right? The lowest entry price, and that's where Norwood is. And so I'm not surprised that the take-up rate is actually very high. So that says, right, I want you guys to remember to stay tuned in this video because today is everything is about Emerald of Katong. And because whatever that you're going to go through today is not going to be what you expected. Okay, there are some new developments for this project, and you guys are the only one, the first one to know it here. Okay, because this is just fresh out of the oven. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so that whenever we have any new projects, we can actually review it and to share with you to learn more. So as usual, if you have been following me for a while, you know that I tend not to go into all the everything about the project. Okay, I mean not about what developer, the size of the development, number of car parks, all these things, how many units. I think all this you can actually research online yourself, or you can just read the brochure. Where's the brochure? Give me a second. Brochure. You can just read from the brochures. Okay. So this one I don't want to waste time just covering all these things. So but today I'm going to cover at least three aspects. Okay. The first aspect I'm going to share with you in this video, how are you going to select Emerald of Katong units as a homeowner as well as an investor. So because both ends are very different, and you really want to stay tuned to the video because I'm going to kind of share with you what are the key things to take note of as a homeowner selecting Emeralds of Katong as well as an investor. And the second thing I'm going to share with you, I'm going to give you the keynotes, okay, about each unit selection. What are the different things that we should take note of, and especially because we do not know the price. So it's very important for us to prepare ahead in terms of the research. And number three, I'm going to share with you one of the biggest mistake a lot of homeowners make during the ballot process. And later I'm going to share with you 5 things. Okay, 5 things later in the video to help you be safer. Okay, so that's my role, right? I'm going to share with you 5 things that during the ballot process it will help you to be safer. And unfortunately, a lot of people when they reach out to us, they have already purchased those properties, then they kind of ask ourselves, hey, is this the right property for us? And I think by then it's a bit too late. So I just want to push this out to you all so that you all don't fall into this trap, please. Okay, it's very important. And you want to stay all the way to the end because I'll be sharing with you the very one thing, what is the walk away price? Yes, you heard me right. What is the walk away price for Emerald of Katong? Okay, because you may want to relook at it from a different thing, from a different perspective. And I'm going to share with you very openly, very transparently, and hope that you can actually learn from this video before you start purchasing any of the properties. And for the very first thing that I want to kind of give you guys to relook at what you are planning to get and come up for some of your finances or your process, because the preview for Emerald of Katong have been delayed. Okay, it has been delayed. And we just got the news. And take it as a blessing in disguise because maybe some of you are ready to actually put in the check and just want to go and get a unit. But due to the delay, I would say that you actually now have a little bit more chance to digest into some of this research and data that I'm going to share with you in this video. And it seems like there's many other different projects coming up. That's why they're all playing chess, right? Trying to kind of see who goes first and who launch first. But on the side note, I believe this is extremely good for you. Take a step back, don't move until you see it. So you can kind of slow it down a little bit, go through a little bit more research, and then see how you can kind of take this from a different perspective if you have not done anything. All right, so now you have more reaction time to prepare. Okay, so if let's say any one of you requires some assistance, we're going to help you. We can be here to help you. And let me just share my screen here, just to kickstart this entire second. Right, I think we are all ready to go about Emirates and Katong. I have done actually a lot of research regarding this, and I believe this is one of the top of the town in comparison to other projects. So let me see. Yep. All right. So of course, if you are intending to kind of wanting to go for Emerald Katong and you want a second opinion, or you have already decided that and you want to get a better idea about, okay, whatever selections you're doing, is it ideal for you? You may want to just scan the QR code here, and I will get in touch. My team will get in touch with you, and we can actually go through a very in-depth analysis to see how we can assist you, not only just for this project, but different projects as well. All right, so Emerald Katong, finally, right? All right, so after we went through previously, all right, the three big boys in the previous videos, you potentially will have already went through my review about Continuum, Grand Dunman, as well as Tembusu Grand. So things got a little bit heated up in the recent months due to this anticipation. Right. So again, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Coach Edmund, and I've been in the business since 2009. And we not only help clients achieve their six figures in property, right? We ourselves are also very active in the business. We have been in the market selling and buying. And as recent as 2024, all right, where we just released another one of our investment, and we are entering into the next one again. All right. So if you want to follow us on our property journey and pick up relevant knowledge that are current to make it informed, well, the call to action, I want you guys to do something about it. Just subscribe. Okay, subscribe. That's my call to action to you. All right. So about Emerald Katong, I think one of the key things that I just want to share with you guys is I put out some site map, right, to give you guys a little bit of information. So let's just do a quick summary about what are the projects surrounding Emerald Katong. So of course, first of all, we have the Haig Court, which is a slightly older property, 2004 TOP, and the number of units is 360, and this is the only freehold plot here. And so in comparison to the others where they are leasehold properties, there will be some comparison. And I've actually done a comparison regarding the density size. All right, so why am I doing this density? Because for density in different locations is extremely important, because that's how the lifestyle of your purchaser or your next buyer is going to be. So for Cape Court, because it's an older development, you can see that the density is at 585 square feet per unit. So that is based on Haig Court. But if we start looking at the younger properties like Tembusu Grand, they are likely going to be TOP in 2028. I believe they will be earlier. So if today you have driven down to Tembusu area, you will see that they are already, most of the blocks are already in place. The buildings are done. I think it's more on the fixture and the finishing and the landscaping left. Potentially, when I look at it, I think perhaps in the end of 2025 or maybe earlier. Okay, it's quite crazy how fast they go in this. All right. Of course, for Tembusu Grand, we're talking about 638 units with a leasehold property. And the density this time around, you can see a huge difference. All right. It's only 330 square feet per unit. All right. So in comparisons to Tembusu and Haig Court, of course, there's a vast difference. So why is this important to us as a purchaser? Because we do need to know how the profile of our future buyers are going to be in that location. So every location differs, right? Some people, they prefer a little bit more landscaping. Some people, they don't mind to be in a concrete jungle. So that's why we need to draw a fine line that today, even though the properties may be sold very, very well, we still need to look at the lens of what as a resale buyer, okay? Because that's when the more detailed comparisons are going to come, and that's how we're going to help you determine whether Emerald of Katong is it a worthy purchase or not. And of course, come to Emerald of Katong, it will be TOP by 2029, and the units 846 by 846 units this whole property, and the density is even smaller if you compare 261 square feet per unit. Okay, so this is something that I think we have to be a little bit more careful about, all right, in terms of density. So based on the layout that you can see here, all right, they are very much quite similar to even the, what do you call it, Tampines, Treasure and Tampines, all right, in terms of the blocking blocks type of configuration. So one thing I think based on the layout and the site plan, you need to be a little bit more careful because for EOK, one thing is only 80% for car park. So it could be likely due to the 5 minutes. Okay, I need to code in this 5 minutes walk to Tanjong Katong MRT is the reason. Um, I don't think it's going to be 5 minutes. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe 5 to 8 minutes to be safe. Or my legs is a bit longer, so maybe I can walk faster. Okay. Well, so but in comparison, if you can see all the three different projects, right? The Emerald of Katong is the most dense, okay, in comparison. And one way that you can see is that you can just look at the tennis court comparison for Tembusu Grand and Emerald of Katong. You can see how density it is. But while like I say you're in a location that is super prime, D15, walking distance to all the great food around, and even the MRT is there. So you can't really go wrong with a location like this. But later on, as we go further into our video, you'll be able to pinpoint a little bit more in details, like the layout, the facings, as well as most importantly, the price point. Okay, so based on the future developments, I think one of the key things we are always emphasizing for our homeowners is don't just look at how you're going to purchase a property. You need to also understand how you're going to exit in time to come. It may not be anytime soon, but if you're looking to a midterm with 5 to 6 years or even 7 years, you need to be very careful about understanding how future developments is going to affect you. And potentially that is how we help you to look at the choice units in terms of facing, in terms of which unit to go for. So let me just give you a quick overview about the master plan. Okay, so this is master plan of Tembusu area in Tanjong Katong. So in case you are unaware, so there are some indications here that you want to you want to make sure that you understand. So E, okay, let me change the color here. So E basically are zoned as education. That's why the color is a bit like light yellow. So they are basically Tanjong Katong Secondary School and Tanjong Katong Girls School. So Emerald of Katong is definitely 1 km to these two schools. They are just slightly off from the popular Guanghua school as well. So that is something that we need to be a little bit more worried about. But let's say for these two schools within 1 km, I think it's definitely a drawing point for Emerald of Katong. And today, if you can look at, this is the first plot that I want to draw attention to, which is what? This is A. So this is going to become a residential site. And if you can remember, there is what do you call it? A car park here, right? There's supposed to be a car park here right now, open car park. But in time to come, this entire area has been zoned for residential. So which means that potentially in front of Tembusu Grand, there's also going to be another new development. There's no indications of when is it, what type is it yet, but it has been zoned for a plot ratio of 2.8. So that will means that it's also going to be high rank. Okay. So then, of course, for the B plot, you have Tembusu Grand. Okay, so this one quite early, quite easy. And C plot, we have Haig. All right. So of course, Haig, right now, you can see that the East has already transformed by itself over the last 10 to 15 years. Because usually the East side do not have much leasehold properties, especially in a prime location like this. So especially we are seeing a little bit more of the leasehold properties coming out because government is not releasing any more freehold land. So today, if you are still able to get a freehold brand new property, it's rather very rare. Okay, because the only way the developers are able to get freehold land right now is to go through an en bloc process. And we all know for the past couple of years, en bloc process has been very challenging, especially for developers with cost rising. So at the moment, within this vicinity in Katong and Paya Lebar side, I think the only one that is freehold brand new is the Continuum. All right, so this is going to be a very, very rare find because one thing we want to understand is, okay, from here, how much is the average prices in terms of the current properties? So we're talking about Haig, we're talking about Tembusu Grand, because they're all surrounded by residential, right? So we also need to make sure that this is important. So let us just do a quick overview, right? Just to see how much are the average prices in terms of Haig Court is. Okay, and let's just look at the 3 bedroom as a starting point. So that will give us a good indication for the 3 bedroom property. All right, so you can see that from a 3 bedroom, of course, the Haig Court ranges from 1,399 all the way to 1,453. Their ranging prices goes in from 2.7 million onwards. Okay, 2.7 million onwards. So average price per square foot should be about 1,900 plus, close to 2,000. So this is what we are going to be expecting if you are going for Haig Court price point. So what about Tembusu Grand? Okay, let's take a look at Tembusu Grand here. Let it load first. Okay, so Tembusu Grand, right? So from here, you can see that in terms of the performance, of course, 3 bedrooms, their sizes are about 990 to 1,173. Prices already ranging from 2.288 million all the way to 2.976. Okay, averagely 2,400 plus, close to $2,500 per square foot. So why am I sharing with you all these numbers? Because it's very important. Today, when you are purchasing a property and you're going for Emerald of Katong, you need to know some of this price point before you enter into it. So one of the key mistakes that I see a lot of homeowners make is that they did not do enough preparation before the balloting process. Okay, and that's very risky. Why? Because prices we won't know until the last minute. And if you have not done enough preparation, you're very kanshong and you're very anxious, and you may just accept a price that it may be a little bit too over in terms of you may be paying a little bit more premium without you realizing it because you're so anxious, right? Oh, I just need to make a decision fast. So that's the reason why whenever we accompany our clients to make a decision in terms of new launches, there's a lot of prep work that we go through with you. And if you really need our assistance on that, better spend some time right now that since the preview has been delayed, you may want to spend some time to do that first so that you don't make mistakes later on. All right, so this is Tembusu Grand information. So let us just skip that. Yeah, so in that, of course, you will have Emerald of Katong, okay, at this side, all right, 3.5 range, okay, and today, just take note that there's already another site here that is zoned for residential as well. When is it? I also don't know, okay, but it has been zoned, which means usually in this kind of situation, in the next 3 to 4, 5 years, it should be launching for tender. All right, unless you have if you have seen some master plan, they will have an indication that says subject to detailed planning. Those that is subject to detailed planning, meaning you will need to wait for the next master plan, then it will come up. So some tip for you guys to learn when you're looking at master plan. Okay, so today, if you are choosing Tembusu Grand and sorry, not Tembusu Grand, Emerald of Katong, and you're kind of looking into this kind of facing, just to take note, there's a residential site that's zoned for 3.5 plot ratio. So why do you need to do this? Because you see, one of the key things is that a lot of us, when we are buying into a property, we only know what happens now. But if you have a glimpse into the future, into the magic crystal ball, right, you can kind of see what happened in the next 5 to 6 years. Would it help you to make a informed decision on what kind of facing, what kind of things are happening around you? So that's where we are to give you a glimpse a little bit into the future. Okay, of course, right now you can see that there's this green colored square here. Right, so this is a park. Okay, so this is a park, a neighborhood park that in case you don't know, the park has to be developed by Cindior, okay, the developer. So this is a collective arrangement that with the GRS, Cindior has to build this park. So why do we as a homeowner need to know this? And what has it to do anything with our balloting process and pricing? Because, okay, I want to be very upfront here. Everybody, you can go and find out. Everybody is shouting that, hey, the property, the land cost that Cindior purchased is 18% cheaper than Tembusu Grand. Okay, about 18%. Okay, let's use a different color here. 18%. Okay, lower. And 20% cheaper than Grand Dunman. So the launch price for Emerald of Katong will be cheaper, and that's what everybody is trying to shout out. So, but in some way, right, who likes cheap things, by the way? Okay, I don't really like cheap things, they spoil quite easily. Okay. All right, so in any case, we also must know, Emerald of Katong, okay, let me see. Let me see whether can you all see this or not. I'm not sure whether can you all see this. Or maybe not. Yeah, because the screen is shared. Okay, in any case, Emerald of Katong is the first harmonization in Katong area. So if you don't know what is it and how it will affect you, all right, check out my other videos where I'll talk about it in details. And because that will change how we buy property and sell property in the next 5 to 10 years down the road. And today, with Cindior needing to actually create and spend costs on building another park, this is so crucial because there will be additional costs and there's also cost to maintain it. So where with costs like manpower, construction costs, levies, stamp duties, higher interest payable, at the end, have you asked yourself, actually, when all these costs increase, who absorbs them in the end? Okay, who absorbs them? Actually, is us lah, or the consumer lah, or like you and me lor. So I call this a transfer of risk from the government to the developer and eventually to the consumers. Of course, when it comes to the consumer, if today we are able to lower down our risk as much as possible, I cannot have zero risk, right? There is no zero risk in property. Whoever tells you that, please run far, far away. But today, if we are able to reduce this transfer of risk on the consumer as low as possible by doing our homework, to doing our perspective, to understand some knowledge before we make a decision, would it make you feel safer? All right. So the ultimate question later on we will ask, we will answer later on at the end. Okay, is Emerald of Katong worth to consider based on the different price matrix? Okay, and most importantly, later on in the video, I'll be sharing with you what is the walkaway price for this project. Okay, so you don't get, compressed during like a pressure cooker later on during the ballot. Okay, very important. Okay, of course, I'm just kidding. It's not so crazy or during that day. Don't worry. Okay, but I always like to be prepared. All right, I'd rather be prepared ahead than not doing anything. All right, because during that day, you'll become so hot, right, like oven, right? And if you're not prepared for it, right, then you may be just making a huge mistake in terms of the decision making. Okay, so yellow here is basically a reserve site, and it's too small basically to do anything here. And one thing I want to point out, which is during my research, right, I found this very important information. And if you can see here, there's this H. Okay, so we all know this is a nursing home. Okay, so this is a nursing home, but I in my research, this is what I found out. Okay, so everybody, if you go to Emerald Katong site, right, you know that hey, the old building is still there, so it's a very low rise. So it could give you the impression that whatever is going to be there is also going to be low rise. Okay, so this is something of a big issue that I see in terms of researching, but not researching deep enough. Okay, why do I say so? Because what I saw is this. Okay, so this is the nursing home in Katong. All right, that's where the site beside Emerald of Katong, right? So the first thing that I noticed is that, hey, this one is not low rise. Did you see the photo? This is not low rise. Okay, so it could be an artist's impression. It could be just a model. We don't know, right? So a lot of people will just presume and still stop you and say, no, this is going to be low rise. They won't be able to build high. Please buy because you're going to get unblocked view. Nothing wrong with it because they may not have done enough research about it. Okay, so that's why whenever we visit the site or we go through the research, we want to take various points into consideration. And be it whether you're a homeowner or you're looking for investments, you need to select carefully. So after this, right, when I noticed this has happened, why? Because today, can you imagine if you buy a property based on the understanding or lack of understanding that, hey, it's going to be a low-rise kind of nursing home, which is quite common, right? Nobody's going to climb. But then if this happens after you purchase and you realize it's going to be a high-rise, what will happen? So I went deeper into my research to make sure that whatever I do is correct or incorrect, or whatever I hear is correct or incorrect. So I always CSI a little bit more, right? So this is one way that you can find out. All right, so I'm going to go into URA space. All right, so you can actually type in the address. So for the nursing home is Jalan 31 Jalan Tembusu. Jalan Tembusu. Okay, let's see if it comes up. You see, you can immediately state that it's a nursing home. So when I click this, right, I'll be able to actually pull out what is happening to this site. Okay, this is not just for residential, this is also for commercial, right? And nursing home is a commercial development, right? So you will see that, the area where is it, will already zone out, see? You can see, Emerald of Katong, and beside it is the nursing home, okay? Of course, in front of it will be the park. But here, when I click into other services, right, I show you. So this is where it gets interesting. Can you see planning decisions? Planning decisions. What does it state? It states that it's a one block of 9-story nursing home development, 294 beds. So what is this telling us? Today, what you see as a low-rise nursing home or the structure is not going to be there because it's going to turn into a 9-story. So how many of you realize this may be something you could be missing out in terms of a research whenever you're purchasing a new launch property? Okay, so let us understand. So sometimes you may be not researched properly, or you simply don't have the time to go dive into it. So that's our role, our role to help you look into that specifically. Because today, right, this has everything, this will change everything you see. All right, so I'm going to share with you why this changes everything later on as we are doing the stack comparison and pricing comparison. Because today, those who bought Tembusu Grand, opposite, right? I don't know, man. I don't know whether do they know that it's actually a 9-story building up. I don't think they know. Why is that so? Because this information came out 20th April. Tembusu Grand was launched, when was it? Let me see. Should be 8 April. So they launched Tembusu Grand already, then this information out. So why the approval after the launch day? I also don't know. Okay, but I mean, how many of you find that this is actually very important information? Okay, so let's move forward. So let us start comparing into the facing and the layout. Why? Because I want to do a quick price analysis for Tembusu Grand, because that's the youngest and the closest comparison that we can do. And using that, it could give us a sneak preview of how Emerald of Katong is. At the moment, we don't have the price point because it will only be released during the ballot period. But what we want to do is to preempt all these prices, to do ahead of research, to be a little bit more kiasu and make sure that all the price point analysis we do before we actually ballot, so that we can feel safer. So let us take a look at this, and we're going to use on some context, right? We're going to use the same floor level to do comparison. So it allows us to be fair, or in terms of comparing. So there's a lot of work. So if you like what you are seeing here and whatever we're sharing, well, do subscribe so that we can continue to actually add value to you through properties. And because your one decision making could actually affect your lifetime with a wrong property. So please be careful a little bit. Okay, so I was just going to share with you some units. So this is 1011, 2004 square feet, per square foot at 990 square feet at about 2.38 million. So I'm just going to list down some of all these units first. All right, so the 1,173 units are also the 3 bedrooms. Okay, and for stack 6 and stack 3, we have both the 990 square feet as well as the 1,173 square feet. Okay, so why am I sharing with you this? Because today, right, you must understand there's also one more, the 990 square feet. So this all the orange color, right, are the units that are sold during the launch. All right, so Tembusu Grand was sold about launch day was sold 53%. It was a very, very good record. All right, and out of all these things, you can see that stack 6 and stack 30 were 100% sold during that. All right, so stack 11, 90%, stack 19, 90%, and stack 23, 70%. Okay, so this is important. So out of all these stacks, right, which one will you usually go for? Okay, let us study this a little bit. Which one will you actually go for? Okay, A, B, C, D, or you all can just type in the comment. All right, so if you are not, you are unsure about how to select property and how to select the stack of facing, right, you want to listen carefully, and you may want to take down a writing pad, a notepad, just write it down. Okay, so first of all, right, let us take a look at the first configuration, which is the A side. Okay, so this is A. So A, right, if today you're buying 1011 at 990 square feet at 2.38 million, right, basically your facing is the shop houses. Agree? Right? So why would people still buy? Because it doesn't matter, right? Maybe the pricing is good. And today, if let's say you want to clear, most people will tell you to clear 4th floor, right? Most of the shop houses there should be about 2 to 3 story. And if you buy the 4th floor, you should be clearing it. I tend to go a little bit more kiasu because I don't want to stand at the balcony or sit down and then I see the rooftop. Also, I like to go a little bit higher if, let's say, I want to clear the building in front. So 6th floor to 7th floor makes a little more sense. Okay. And of course, you have some part view that you're facing the car park here. Okay, the car park is here. Okay, the car park is here. But also, during then, there will be residential coming up. So we also don't know what is it. So one of the key things that you must understand is now, I just want to share with you, like for example, stack 30. Okay, stack 30 is B. Okay. So B, you are basically right at the entrance area. Okay, so this is something that you need to take note. Because when Tembusu Grand was launched during that time, we already know there's going to be a new plot in front, correct? So this is how the layout is. Okay, so we already know this is the end of the land plot. So rightfully, right, today, if you can see it clearly, right, when you buy B, right, for Tembusu Grand, you won't know whether the opposite plot is going to be a rubbish dump generator, is it a car park entrance, or is it going to be a drop-off area? You won't know. But because Emerald of Katong is a corner, is at a corner, and the corner is actually facing the entrance of Tembusu Grand, right? So this gives you some ideas that usually what do developers put at the corners of the development? Either they put garden, but usually they put what? Rubbish dump, right? And then they put what? Generators, that kind of stuff. So you also want to be a little bit careful when you are studying comparison, especially if you know your front right center, all this got additional new plots going to be for sale. And then you can use that as a guidance to see whether should you be selecting those units. Okay, at the moment, of course, when Tembusu was sold, Emerald of Katong was not out yet, and there's no site plan, there's no nothing, so you also won't know. But when we study site plan together, that's where we want to be a little bit more careful. Okay, and so thankfully, this one is actually facing another block, so quite thankful. Okay, so they are facing another block. So for those who have purchased those units, are quite safe. Oh, very, very safe really. All right, so then another one I want to share with you is that today, this facing is by chance you get it. Oh. So another one is, let's take a look at stack 6. Okay, stack 6 is here. See, yeah, stack 6. All right, so this one, let's say today you purchase for stack 6. Likelihood you don't know what's going to happen in the nursing home. Okay, you don't know what's going to happen in the nursing home. You know it's going to be redeveloped in the nursing home, but you don't have details. So that's the reason why those who bought stack 6, you may not be at the best position because there's going to be a 9-story in front of you. All right, there's going to be construction. Okay, so seeing that Tembusu Grand is going to be ready quite soon, within the next 1 year, I'm not sure whether the nursing home is going to be ready by then. Maybe you need to bear with the noises about 1 year so or 2 years maximum. Okay, so just take note of some of all this. And for stack 23, okay, stack 23 here. All right, so Tembusu Grand stack 23 is actually a quite a good purchase, but because of the multi-story car park. Okay, in case you all don't know, the multi-story car park is here. Okay, so if you are getting stack 23, then you want to definitely clear at least the 4th to 5th floor. So if you have been to Tembusu Grand, you have seen actually their rooftop landscaping, all the facilities are actually very nice. So you also want to go up higher so that you can see them. You see, so that is how we actually pinpoint some of the key facings and some of the key attributes. Because the attributes does affect the pricing. And that's depending on how developer price it. All right, so that one we have no say until the last day. So, but we want to kind of know how all these are done before we go to ballot. So I'm going to show you another set of data, which is the blue color one. Okay, so these two blue color one are sold at a later date. Okay, so how do we determine this is that the inward facing, okay, there are more of the inward facing, which is here. Okay, this is the inward facing. So you can see that there's a jump. Of course, the size is bigger, but there's a jump of a premium of about $400,000 to $500,000. So the question is it worth to pay this premium so that you can kind of remove all the uncertainties around? Okay, uncertainty around meaning, for example, if in front of you is a building or residential site that is not being constructed, then do you want to actually pay more so that you don't get any of all this, whether it's a noise, whether it's a different building, so that the uncertainty do come with a premium now. Okay, so I always ask myself is that even my clients, I always ask them, is the quietness worth that 400 to 500,000 extra or not? Okay, we all value privacy differently. Yeah. So that's why this question has to be answered by you're truly, when you are buying a property, how much do you value your own privacy and all this uncertainty? Okay, because there are some who basically don't need to worry. They even facing a rubbish dump, a generator, even the constructions, they're all fine. Okay, they are all fine. But remember, as I mentioned earlier, what is your exit? How are you going to exit from this property is very important. Okay, so then of course, we also spotted a good purchase, a value purchase under Tembusu Grand that is still going at under $2,400 per square foot. Okay, very good property. And so this is something that I believe that if today you are having some options and you don't want to wait too long, you may also want to consider Tembusu Grand because likelihood this will be really in under 1.5 years or 1 year minimum. And that could give you some buffer because the price point at $2,400 per square foot lower. Okay, below 2,400. I think this is a purchase, a good value purchase. So today, if you are also looking out to find out what are the other available good value properties out there, okay, among all the different projects, or even there are 2 to 3 projects that are looking out, but you just want to get the best value one, well, reach out to us. All right, we'll be able to help you to do analytics, to do some comparison like what we are sharing with you now, and you can actually make a better decisions later on. All right, cool. All right, so now let's look at layout. Okay, layout, I think Emerald of Katong layout, I think nothing to cry about. Okay, I think it's built for functionality, and if we have been to many of Cindior's development, you know they are very, very accurate in terms of providing functionality. Okay, so it's always very surprising to see how they are able to fit so many things into a certain size, and most important is the layout, how the efficiency level of it. Right? Some of you may have already went to see Treasure at Tampines, so it was really world class, okay, in terms of functionality. But in terms of quality, that one I have my own opinion, let's just say. So this is also one concern that I also have. Like, okay, Cindior is known for OCR kind of properties. They are known to build functionality, efficiency, so that they can keep the cost very, very comfortable. What will their pricing model be and their materials that they're going to do for this? All right. So I personally already seen Emerald of Katong. I can rest assured, okay, that they have upped their standard. Okay, let's just say that. All right, they are their standard, and I feel very, very comfortable. All right, before I see the show flat, right, I was very concerned. I was like, they do a mass market. Are they going to bring mass market into this prime district 15 Katong area? How are they going to stand out versus Tembusu Grand with so many other kind of a little bit more high-end, more premium kind of properties? But after seeing the show flat, I rest assured, like today, I think they have upped their game. And now it's more about when they up their game, how much premium is it going to be transferred to us as consumers? Okay, so this is something that we don't know. We have to wait until the ballot day, which is why we always want to make sure that we do research first. So for the layout, I think this is quite very efficient, but there are some gaps that I feel that is important for you to look at before you purchase a property. So one of the key things we must always understand is there is a certain reason why developers, they build a certain size, they do the layout a certain way, so that they can fill in a certain gap in this entire location, especially with Tembusu Grand being just beside. Well, I want you all to put in your lens as a what? As a resale buyer now. I don't want you to look at it from a buying perspective. And I want very easy. But I want to look at you to start looking at how do I sell this property in future? Because that's how, when a couple of years later, when both projects TOP, they are considered resale. So when they're considered resale, today, no matter how good Emerald of Katong is, or even Tembusu Grand, the buyers will want to compare these 2 projects because they're just side by side. So it's not possible for them to just, oh, I only want Tembusu Grand. Right? I don't think, how many of you will actually just, if you want Tembusu Grand, you just look at Tembusu Grand when as a resale unit? I don't think so, right? So you definitely compare both Emerald of Katong as well as Tembusu Grand. So it's equally important for us to start doing the research right now. So you can have a you can have an advantage when you are selling it later on. So this is how this segment is going to be, and I want you guys to concentrate because layout, many of us, we may miss out some small little things, and I'm going to share with you what it is. Right, so for Emerald of Katong, the show flat unit is the 990 layout. I've seen the layout, I've seen the finishing, fantastic. Okay, it's all I can say, and I'm very glad that they actually up their game a little bit more, okay, in this. But just take note, because for Emerald of Katong, we are under the harmonization, so we still have the aircon latch, which is estimated about 54 square feet. So we need to kind of factor that in, which means that if we factor pre-harmonization, right, the 990 square feet technically is 1044 square feet unit, okay? So this is something we need to look at. So I just want to do a quick comparison. If you can do, let's say, between A, B, C, and D. Okay, I just want to do a quick summarize. So between A and B, right, you can see that the only difference is about what? The study wall. Okay, one study wall you can hack, the other one you cannot hack. So is this going to play a huge difference in terms of the value of the property later on? It really, I don't think it will weigh in that much. So which means that these two configuration in terms of pricing will also not going to be differ, in my opinion. Okay, because ultimately they are still a study. Whether you can break or not, it really depends on who is the one staying there and how they want to do it. Okay, so the rest of the stuff are actually quite very similar. But when it comes to the 1023 as well as 969 square feet, then there's a slight difference. Okay, there's a slight difference. So again, the 1023 unit, you can see that the study room can become a walk-in wardrobe if you want to, and it's been designed that way. Okay, if you can see here. Okay, it's been designed that you can actually use it as a walk-in wardrobe, because you can easily, okay, let me just clear this out. You can easily what? Do up another door here. You have a wider living master room, toilet, as well as a walk-in wardrobe. So these are all provisions that allows more creativity when we're looking at the layouts. Very important. Okay, and for this configuration 1023, because of the size, you do have a wider dining area as well. Okay, a wider dining area here. So the good part about all these four layouts is that you can see that they have the things that later on when we compare to Tembusu Grand, then you know what I mean. Okay, so all of them have what? They have a yard and they have a WC. Okay, which is for 990 to squeeze in, wow, I don't know how they do it also. Okay, so this is something that we have to take for, because in Tembusu Grand later on we'll see the layout. Actually, there's no WC and there's no yard for the same 990 size. Okay, so these are all things that you have to take note a little bit. All right. So one thing for 969 as well as the 990, I want you all to start looking at A and B. Okay, they look same, but a little bit different. Okay, so I want you all to point out a little bit of what is it that we look at. The rest of the layout in terms of size is actually quite similar. Okay, they are all similar, but then there is this one factor, right? I want you all to take note in terms of the what? Balcony. Okay, do you see any difference in the balcony? You may say that, hey, no much different, it's the same. All right, so this is why detailed studying of the layout is so crucial, right? Because today you can see here, okay, today the 969 square feet balcony, one part of it actually is shorter. So which means you're not getting a full-fledged kind of window space. It eats into your wall space a little bit, which indirectly, right, make your living area shorter as well. All right, in comparable to 990, you can see that there's a small space here. So these are small little things that we have to take note of. And of course, for the extra 30 square feet, that you get a longer living area and a full-fledged balcony space, right? Is it worth the comfort and also worth the price extra? Okay, so these are all things that we need to be comparing about. Very easy, very important. Very important. All right, so today, of course, for 990, I think the layout, in my opinion, is it is very usable, very flexible, and that's why they show this as their show flat unit. And always they want to push out the best layout design possible, right? So this is very crucial. So let us look at this from a comparable perspective. Okay, remember we are in the lens of what? A resale seller. Oh, sorry, resale buyer. Which one will you go for? So let's just put them side by side. Now we have Tembusu Grand pre-harmonization at 990 square feet and Emerald of Katong 990 square feet at harmonization. Of course, the non-strata of 54 square feet has to be taken into consideration. So this is something. So what do you see as a huge difference? Actually, generally, all three bedrooms, you can't go too far away. But let me share with you my views. There's a few things that I find that we need to take note of. Besides the fact that today for Emerald Katong, you're able to still fit in a yard as well as the WC. So this is a huge advantage. All right. If you are able to have it in a 3 bedroom. But Emerald Katong, what they managed to even do, they managed to even create an additional store, which is crazy. You're right. So that's why now, based on efficiency space, right, to create an additional store is so important in every families with a 3 bedroom. Because when you have a 3 bedroom, you likely will have 2 kids. Or you may have 2 kids and even with one helper that you may want to have it. So you can use as flexi or helper room if you need to. You see, and there's a store and there's a yard. So everything is perfect for a young family to start off with. And the only development that I see in the east side, if we see that they have stored as a store area, right, is Continuum. Continuum is also able to actually build an additional store area in the 3 bedroom, which serve very, very well. All right. So that is a very efficient of Cindior when they are able to actually do this. But if you compare it to Tembusu Grand, right, actually, if you look at it from a space-wise perspective, they should be a little bit bigger because they are pre-harmonization, right? So they are able to actually increase their space. But without the yard as well as toilet, WC. Okay, without these two, that's why their space is bigger. And one other thing that you should take note of is that there's actually some, what do you call it, dead space. Okay, there are some dead space in this configuration. But all in all, as a buyer, when you're looking at resale, you will still go and look these two properties. So what is your decision-making process as a resale buyer next time? Would it be just the design? Would it just be the name, the developer? Or would it be based on functionality, right? That you can actually stay in the property for beyond 10 years. So when your children are growing up, then you maybe want to upgrade to a 4 bedroom. So these are things that you need to start looking at comparison. So that's why when I mentioned that Emerald of Katong, I'm very excited because I think they have carefully, very creatively fit in what is needed for a family stay. All right. I think the past couple of launches, a lot of us, we are complaining that, hey, there's no such facilities in the development itself that caters to families' needs. For example, storeroom. Okay, storeroom very important. If not, you have to get what we call it, the storage bed. Okay, you take the storage bed. So this is one thing, because one thing you must understand, right? So besides these two are very comparable. For Tembusu Grand, besides 990, the next jump is actually a bigger unit at 1173 already. So there's no in-between kind of sizes, which later on I'll share with you what is the gap that for Emerald Katong we're filling in. So today, whether you're looking at from a homestay perspective or you are looking for investment, Emerald Katong may fit very, very well into this gap that I believe will be the most outstanding in terms of returns and as well as upsides. So let us take a look at Tembusu Grand, right? So the next jump is already 1,173 square feet. Okay, so so this is something that we want to make sure that, hey, today if you cannot get a 990, then you go for 1173. Of course, your quantum is about 400 to 500,000 more depending on the facing. You see, so this is very crucial because today, will you want to pay this extra amount of money to buy this such a big space? All right, when perhaps the difference is today you are able to get a yard and a WC, you have an additional household shelter as well as a study, which actually Emerald of Katong can already provide you all these things. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, but of course smaller, but 4. You're able to get the same thing, but in Emerald of Katong. All right, so will it be worth that additional 400, 500,000 just because you need some of the things? Give and take, of course, all the sizes of the rooms, everything will be bigger. But bigger, does it mean more valuable? Today, we need to what? Make our money work harder. So we need to make sure that whatever we spend on per square foot is actually valuable. It's important. It's not anyhow spend. Okay, so whether you are thinking to buy this as a homeowner or investor, you want to play it very carefully. So our role is not to kind of think as an investor or a homeowner. We want to combine both together. So I'm going to introduce this new term to all of you. The moment when you're viewing with us, you are going through a consult with us, or you're watching our videos, I want you to start thinking as a home investor. Okay, or a home investor because you're seeing it from a different lens, a different perspective altogether, right? Using the REI method. So this is very important. So after doing all this research, that's why I start to realize how Emerald of Katong can potentially fill up a certain gap. And this gap has a lot of upsides. Okay, so let me share with you. Why I say so? Because for Emerald of Katong, this 990 square foot potentially is 1044. 1044 because of urbanization, right? So today today we are only seeing 1044 units. And today at Tembusu Grand, from 990, then suddenly they jump to 1173. You see, so they haven't really experimented something in the 1000 square foot unit. So this is something I find that it is good to actually get this gap and see how we can fill it up very well. You see, so one of the key things, right? Today you must understand. Today the study here, right, for 990, it can also double up as a storeroom if you want. It can be a helper's room. So this is a very, very strong layout. And definitely I would say that there will be a lot of high stake on this layout. Okay, and Cindior does a very good job. They know what the customers, the audience wants. They provide it with everything that you need in a 3-bedroom. Okay, because if you go to Tembusu Grand, you no yard, no toilet at the same, almost the same price, but jump to the bigger unit, 400, 500,000, maybe a little bit different. So this one kind of have a best of both worlds. And most importantly, I want you all to take note that you always want to make sure that your entry price is lower so that your overall quantum is also safer. Okay, and today you are paying lesser potentially, and your entry is lower, but yet you get all the right functionality that can last you a couple of years. Also, this is the gap that we kind of see potentially. So there are many different projects, many different layouts that we do witness certain gaps that is very crucial. So why is it that some properties, some unit types or layout perform better in the development? Because of this gap. Today, if you are able to find this layout gap, it could actually yield you another 100 or even 150,000 more than those who have paid for. Also, our role is what? If we can buy at a lower price, but we can make the most, who don't want? So that's our job, to help you analyze a little bit more in details. Okay, so this is crucial. So of course, we also use the same analysis for the 1 and 2 bedrooms. Generally, 1 and 2 bedrooms are not going to be much difference. That's why I did not cover in today. Today, I'm only covering only the 3 bedrooms. And of course, 4 and 5 bedrooms is also a totally different analysis guideline. So if you intend to go for the 1, 2, or even the 4 and 5, and you need some help in it, of course, the 3 as well. All right, do reach out. All right, you can scan the QR code. I don't know where is it, somewhere. Then we can get in touch. So I just quickly run through a little bit of how's the facing. So I don't know, there's no facing. Or you are already right smack in the center of District 15, right? Everything is around you. And everything around you is roads. So no matter how high you go, I don't think the view is going to be too much of a difference. You're still seeing one building or another. The only advantage you have is for the plots that is not being built yet, especially for Southern View, nothing has been out yet, so we will wait long. We wait and see what is going to happen. But the site will also be built, which means your view also buang one next time. Also, I don't think they will be building lower rise properties anyway. Okay, so this is something that we want to be a little bit more careful about in terms of the site visit. So are you guys learning something so far? I know we are live. I just hope that we are still on. We are live right now. Okay, so one thing I want you all to continue watching, because later on I'll be giving you guys the 5 things. Okay, the 5 things you need to do before your balloting process. Okay, and you don't go for it. Don't go for the ballot if you have never done any of these 5, because you're going to be so stressful. you're going to anyhow choose your property, and chances are you're going to pick the wrong type of property at the wrong price as well. Okay, so unfortunately, there are so many through my different platforms, my social media, YouTube, that they reach out in previous launches. Okay, previous launches, and they bought a property, and they read my analysis. They reach out and say that they buy the right property. So please, I don't want you guys to fall into the trap. Spend a little more time before to do all this preparation work. Then we go into ballot with certainty and with confidence. Very important. Okay. So later on, I'll also be sharing with you guys. All right. So you want to stay all the way to the video, go through everything, so you know every single details. Because I'm also going to share with you what is the walk-away price for Emerald of Katong. What is the price that you don't fall into the what? You don't fall into it, and if not, you'll be FOMO about it. All right. So I want to prevent you guys from falling into this FOMO trap. All very important. All right. So let's study this also from a homeowner and investor perspective. All right. Because why? Decision makings are somehow different, but there are some parameters or some fundamentals that we always look at. And I just want to draw attention to this is Emerald of Katong site plan. Okay, site plan. So let me just orientate you a little bit. So for A site, opposite this, we will have a future residential land plot, 3.5 plot ratio. We don't know when is it going to be launched. We don't know when is it going to be sold. So nothing yet. But one given grace is that we know that at least the front plot is the same layout, same size as you. So chances are that will be the whatever in the entrance should be in the middle lah. Oh, shouldn't be on the crazy corners. Should be in the middle. That's where the most efficiencies of space is used. But like I say, I also don't know because nobody know. But just take note that A side, you will definitely have a building in front of you, same plot ratio. All right. So on the other end, you have B, which is facing Jalan Tembusu. Jalan Tembusu here, we have the black and white SLA land where they rent out the houses. So if you are looking for rental, like 2 bed, 1 bath kind of rental, actually you can go and rent those places. But so far, those has been very hot in the topic recently. Right. So of course, these are all low rise now. So those potentially, if you're choosing that kind of facing, you already will clear the height level, which is anything above 4th floor will be very, very safe. And then you have the C facing. This one is, of course, facing Haig Court. And then Tembusu Grand. Okay, Tembusu Grand also very important. Anything, if you want to clear the car park, 4th, 5th, 6th floor should be able to clear that so that you can see the landscaping at Tembusu Grand. Right, and of course, on the other end, we have E facing. E facing is somewhat a nursing home, and we already know for sure it's going to be a nice story. So with this additional information, do you think it will help you in terms of your choosing of facing as well? And not last but not least, we have our park. All right, so this is considered a neighborhood park, considered a premium. And that's why if you look at the entire block 59, they're all the bigger units. Okay, more premium, they have a side gate. Okay, there's a side gate that they can go out immediately. So that's where they categorize the most premium property type. Okay, so why do I categorize 1, 2, 3, 4? Because that's where if I'm doing a selection on behalf of you, and if price is not a concern, money is not a concern, we want to rank them according to which one actually is the safest. All right, so 1 being the safest, 4 being not so safe. But can you buy any of this layout? Definitely. There's no property in Singapore that cannot be sold. It's just a matter of our dollar sign. Okay, whether we got enough to pay for some of these extra perks and premium. So let us just study a little bit first. So for 3-bedroom, right, you must understand there's only one of them is 883 square feet, okay, which is let me see, here. Okay, so this is the only one stack that you have for 883. So if you want to go for the cheapest pricing possible, go for it. All right, so this will be definitely one of the lowest price because of the size of the unit. But they do take note, opposite you is going to be constructions in time to come. We don't know yet. So that is something that you don't want to just buy for the sake of buying. All right, so for 904 square feet, so this one is all 904 square feet that we're ranking them. Okay, I've ranked them so you can have a safer exit in future. So let's say today, we cannot, okay, so let's say as a homeowner, right, we cannot put a price tag for comfort, am I right? So a lot of times we want to pamper ourselves, we want to go for a better place, we want to stay in a better, nicer house. Then there is a price tag that we cannot put for comfort or for luxury and your own stay. So really depending on each of you, how much premium you guys want to go for. All right, so but this will be one of the top choices to me, I believe, among families. And number one, okay, this is my top choice. Why? Even though it's facing Tembusu Grand, right? But if like I mentioned, if you're able to clear the sixth floor and above, hey, then the view actually is quite fantastic. That's why I rank it number one, even though it's right at the entrance of the drop-off point. But if you're high enough, that would not be such a concern anymore. And number two, if you can see that this is also facing Tembusu Grand. And so why did I rank these two? Because it's 66 meters away. So you're actually very, very far from Tembusu Grand. And this is a very good distance. So usually this kind of developments, if you are this kind of distance away, it's okay to go mid-floor to even high floor, depending on how much price jump per floor. Okay, so that's why for this kind, usually if it's long distance, I will say, hey, let's go if the pricing is okay. So later on, we'll cover how actually you should be looking at floor level, what kind of range, what is the price point that we should go for. And but if you're looking for just for gain, that means you want your property to gain, then this will be one of my top choice, and you may not need to go for lower floors. Right, so let's go to point number three, right? My ranking number three is here. Okay, ranking number three. The only reason why I choose this, even though it's facing inwards, right, is because the distance between block 53 and 55 is 41 meters. Okay, maybe use a different color. 41 meters. Okay, 41 meters, which is still fine. It's a good distance, but do take note that when you're facing inwards, it's still like concrete jungle, or if you have been to Treasure and Tampines, you will know. The distance are fine, it's great, but it's just that everybody sees each other. So I think Singapore really no space really. So a lot of the developments have to be built this way. So there are some rare developments out there that they're fantastically laid out, but because they have a bigger plot of land, no choice. Also, usually for inward facing, like number three, I would save the money. I would just go for lower floors. Okay, lower floor is usually better in terms of the price point, sensitivity also. Okay, so I wouldn't need to go high because I also see my neighbor, so I may as well just go low floor. Okay, so that is how usually I look at it. And then, of course, if you look at number four, okay, my obvious choice, right? Why I put it as number four, the least desirable. Okay, but will people still buy? Yes lah, because likelihood developers may also price this very sensitively. Okay, why? Because there's a lot of unknown, right? We already highlighted many times just now. Because of the unknown of the residential plot, we don't know when, we don't know how they build, we don't know. There's a lot of all this uncertainty. So if the developers are just trying to clear the unit, they may want to price this well, so they can actually get some numbers moving. So we still don't know. Okay, so this is something to take note of. And just now, as I shared with you, once we look at the master plan, we know that the opposite plot is going to be in the same structure, same position as Emerald of Katong. So likelihood their entrance will also be right in the center. So now that you understand how I rank them out based on my sharing, maybe you want to comment below based on 1, 2, 3, 4, which is your favorite? Okay, if price and numbers and price and money is not a concern, which one would you prefer better? Is it the same as what I think, or you have another thought? Share with me at the bottom. All right. So next, we want to go to the another set of data, which is the 9901. Why the difference? Because this one is a little bit, to me, I call it a bit more premium. Okay, they could be, in terms of pricing, a little bit more premium. Why? Because point number one, right, you're facing the pool. So anything that for this kind of configuration, block to block, you have the pool, and this potentially can go a little bit more premium. But if the floor jump is too high, okay, for the inward facings especially, then you can just opt for lower floors, and you have a good view as well. The PS, means the ground floor unit here, you can actually have access. There's actually walk path that you can access out to the pool level and the gardens and all the facilities. So for this development, I think a ground floor unit will be quite interesting. All right, because is you can have access, which is good. And my second choice, of course, for here This one is only if the PSF is fantastic. And it really depends on their pricing model. All right. And because I want to safeguard, right? I want to safeguard for this unit at 990, I will try not to go high floor. Again, because of the uncertainty of the residential plot over. So construction doesn't mean that you cannot purchase. Okay, that's why it really depends on the pricing strategy that day. And that's why we need to what always factor, and we are kind of think ahead for you. We're more gassy in that sense. Okay, we help you think ahead. So if let's say today the pricing for my number two choice at the lower floors are crazily good, right? I will go for it. Even though I have the uncertainty, the noises and everything at residential plot. Why? Because if you're lower floor, right, and we're talking about low floor, and we're talking about 1, 2, even 3. Why do I say so? Because ultimately in front of the property, right, you have some setback, that's one. And generally they will have built what? Let me use a different color. They will have landscaping, trees and everything to kind of shield off your noises and everything. So I don't want to see the construction site, but I can accept lower floors. Then only if the pricing of the PSF is great, then I will want to explore this possibility. If not, then go for one. Okay, the other 1 and 2 in blue, right? You can see number 1, of course, quite clear. This one, you're quite clear away from Tembusu Grand, of course, clear 6th floor again. Okay, remember always clear 6th floor, but remember to pay a premium lah. I mean, I know developer also will know because they will know how buyers are thinking. But if it's for investment, okay, if investment, then I would say that you can go for number 2. And for this, just go for low floor. It doesn't matter. Price is more crucial in terms of the sensitivity. So a lot of the properties that I bought, right, usually are all the low floors. I bought 2nd floor, I bought 4th floor, I bought 5th floor. But actually, at the end of the day, I gain the most. Why is that so? Because I remember I shared with you all entry price. I have a lower entry, which means my quantum is lower, which means I have more buffer that I can work with, depending on how much I want to make later on. All right, so out of this 4, which is your favorite? All right, I want you to comment so that I can understand better how you are thinking as a homeowner as well. Okay, up next, we're going to compare the 1,023 square feet unit. Okay, let's rank them. Okay, not the most ideal in my opinion is number 3. Okay, number 3, why? Obvious. You all now should already know the residential plot unknown factor. And today, same thing. If today they are priced it well because of this, right? Then you may want to look at it from a short to mid-term perspective. Okay, that means quickly, even before any announcement, you may want to just sell it off. Okay, and lower floor unit like this can hatch over the unknown actually. Also, but you must play your game well because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But because the lower entry, it may give you a good hatch over the uncertainty later on. And my number 2 selection is inward facing. It will be very competitive for all the inward facings, and from their pricing model from Simlin previously, their inward facings are always commanding a more premium. Okay, Treasure and Tampines, they all do. So roughly, they wouldn't shy away too much from how they have priced before. So that's how we are so in depth. We even understand how developer think and everything, and we use that we cannot say we're 100% correct, but at least knowing some of all these facts, would it give you more confidence and give you some more assurance that, hey, at least we have talked about all these things before we start buying, or that's where my job is to make sure that it's safe for you, you are assured, right? So one thing why I place this at number 2 is because you must understand the entire area here is what we call adventure zone. So basically, it's all the kids splash zone, all the water, this kind. So is this a bummer? Actually, if you ask me, it's no. Also, a lot of families right now they would rather buy properties, even the ground floor units that is facing all these things. Why? It's easier for them to look after the kids. Then when they want to sell, they may say, so noisy, why would nobody will buy? But don't you agree the next set of buyers or families, they also will have kids, and a lot of them could also be looking out for this unique factor. So today, don't need to worry whatever property that you buy cannot sell. You just need to do the right marketing to find the right buyer. That's all. Okay, every property in Singapore can sell one. Okay, it's a matter of how do you actually reach out to this group before you sell. Okay, but one other thing besides the adventure zone for this facing is a little bit worrying, not say worrying, I won't use the word worrying, but it's just that if you have the choice, you may want to discount this facing. Why? Because today you not only have the tennis court, okay, tennis court, lights and everything, and most importantly, there's a pavilion, gourmet pavilion. So, so please prepared for barbecue smell, cooking smell, all these things. All right. So you may say that this may be something the first time you heard before, but it's really true. Today you see everything nice, nice. But the moment when every single day there's some people cooking and barbecuing, and you're on the fifth floor or even on the second floor, wow, your clothes, everything will stink. So you need to make sure that this is something that you want to consider about. Okay. Yeah, it's just my own opinion, of course, my own opinion. If today I have a choice and money is not a concern, I will definitely want to go for something different. So that's why my top choice is actually at number one. Okay, number one facing. So you may say that, oh, this one is near the entrance and everything. Obviously, inward facing advantage. Okay, and you are very far. You are the furthest away because this is 44 meters away from the next block. This is the furthest already. The rest of the blocks are about 41 meters. So as the further you are away is the better. And this one you are facing a lap pool. A lap pool tentatively usually are quieter. Okay, there's not much noises and everything going on. And one thing is this unit is nearest to the drop-off point. We say, huh, nearest to drop point, does it make sense? Yeah, because if let's say today you're rushing, you want to get a grab, you no need to go one whole round of the place, right? You can just come down immediately. So it kind of save you some time. And most importantly, right, in case some of you do not know, there is an aircon welcome lounge at the entrance. Okay, aircon one. I want to stress aircon welcome lounge. So you no need to sweat under the sun anymore while you're waiting for a grab, or maybe your kids want to what take the school bus and everything. So actually very thoughtful. Some of these small little things, actually it does make a difference. That's why I categorize this as my number one, because even though it's at the main entrance, some people may complain that, hey, it's going to be a little bit noisy, etc. But there are some perks to it that I find is important as a homeowner. Okay, and this one we are comparing is 3 bedrooms. So of course, we don't want to forget about this block, which is the block 59. So this is, as I mentioned just now, the premium stack. And why? Because it's closest to the park, and they're also the bigger units. And so pre-prepared would be also higher cost too. So today, if you want to have a different analysis on 4 and 5 bedrooms across all the different projects, do reach out, because there's a there's enough supply of 4 and 5 bedrooms. But what I realize is a lot of homeowners, they don't know how to choose which one is ideal for them. Because for the 4 and 5 bedroom, there's different set of criteria, especially price point, that you have to be extremely careful about. All right. So if not, you'll be end up getting stuck and nobody can buy a property. So the quantum is a different amount altogether. So those who are going for 4 and 5 bedrooms, tentatively, you should not be looking at too short of time. Okay, you want to look at a midterm at least minimum. All right. So do watch out for my channel. I should be doing up a special video just on this for the 4 and 5 bedrooms. How do we actually look into selections? What are the different key criteria? So if you have not subscribed, do so right now so that you can keep informed and be notified when we are doing the 4 and 5 bedroom analysis. All right. So now it comes to the most important part. Okay, pricing. Nobody knows what's the price. So how do we determine pricing? That's why we always come out with a price matrix. Okay, this price matrix is extremely important. And why we do this is so that we can one glance have a sense about what is happening in each development, each size from a pricing perspective for PSF. All right, so I'm just using 2,500 as a guideline first. Okay, again, I'm not hinting anything because I really don't know. So disclaimer, anything I share, if really jackpot, is heng one, or it's really lucky one, because nobody knows one. I won't know, or if I know, then I buy property always hot one, here, right? Then I help you all hot also. All right, so just use 2005 as a benchmark price. Why do I say so? Because this gives you a very good overview in between, and from there, if the prices keep going up, then we will have other guidelines. And remember, later on, I'll be sharing with you what's the walk away price from this guideline, from this price matrix, at which point you should basically just say bye-bye and walk off. Okay, all right. Really, please do not stay in if the price point has already went out of reach. Okay, you will be stressed for life, which is not why you want to buy a property. Yeah. Okay. So you want to use a 2005 guideline, PSF as a guideline first. So one thing you must understand. Okay, let's just use a 3 bedroom lah. So let me just point out 883, okay, 904, 969, 990, and 1023. Okay, we just want to use this 5 example. So if you can see from a 2005 per square foot, right, you can see what's the pricing jump. Okay, this is one aspect that we do during our price comparison before the balloting, is because we want to see what is the difference between the price jump. And this is extremely important because if the price jump is very little, like for example, if you can see this price jump, they are only about maybe 52,000. Then today, should you go for a 883 or should you go for a 904? Because the margin is very small. But the next one that you see, right, the price jump from 904 to 969, from 2.2 million to 2.4 million is almost 160,000 jump. Then the question is it worth for me to pay this amount of 162,000 for the bigger size unit? Of course, there's a lot of other criteria, right? The facing, which floor, etc. But we're generally using different price points. So you can see, actually, there's a lot of work, right? There's a lot of work before you buy that one property, and we are only choosing one. But there's so much homework we have to do beforehand. And today, if you are already intending to buy this property and you have not done all this homework, please give yourself a chance, right? A second chance to seek a second opinion to see, are you missing out certain things that you may not have understand or may not have covered before. All right, because this is very crucial, important. So if you look at the next one, the next jump for the price point for 696 to 990, you can see that the jump is also about 50 over percent, or 50 over $1,000. So in this case, should you go for 990 instead? Because it's only about $50,000. So of course, when you take a loan, you calculate the down payment, it's peanuts. So in this kind of situation, I would definitely want to go for the bigger unit. And last but not least, if you look at the next jump with 990 to 1023, the jump is about 82,000, but you get almost how much? 30 square foot more. Is it worth that 80 over 1,000? So I've summarized it right for you guys. Okay, oops, let me just clear this so that it's cleaner. So I've done this as a guideline, okay, just as a guideline. If you ask me, I would definitely go for 904 because the price difference is very small, okay, and I will go for the 990. You see, so do you all start seeing like how we actually start comparing properties until so detailed? Right? Also, I don't know how many of you, when you all buy property or new launches, have you all done your study into this detail? If not, ask for help. Okay, ask for help. You know where to reach out to us. Like I say, we are here to really help you all make a right choice. Or it's not a perfect choice. There's no perfect units out there. There's also no risk at all for properties. But if we can just lower down that risk, wouldn't it help us to make a better informed decision? All right, so that's why I mentioned. So this is still very crucial. Why? Because only during that day prices will be released. All right, so you need to have somebody who was able to crunch all these things in quick time to help you and guide you to make that decision. All right, if not, is you see him, he see you, then don't know. So this is what happened to one of my clients. My client actually went through number one ballot, one of the project, I forgot the name. All right, he was queue number one. Then he walked out. He walked out and then he called me up and asked me, Evan, I need your help. I say, how? I've been following you for a while. I need you to help me analyze on the purchase. I said, hey, you are queue number one. How come you never buy? So the actual words from him is that he is not confident. He's not confident about purchasing that property. He don't know what's the pricing. He go in very unsure. He don't know how is he going to sell the property in future. So a lot of all this uncertainty makes him worried and panic. And that's why he walked out from queue number one. So eventually in the afternoon, when we went through their needs and everything, in just 3 days, we went through from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., right? Just to speed up the process of understanding. And eventually they went on to purchase another property, not the same project. Okay, not the same project. Really, we went on to purchase another project that, based on our analytics, is safer for them. The price point is there, the entry is correct, and it's safer for them to also exit in the midterm timeline. So everybody's situation is very different. So you can take what we share with you here and then you just apply it. Definitely. But there will be definitely some gaps that you may not have looked through. And that's why when you are going through a consultation with us, right, we dive in very deep. We dive in very deep because based on your situation. And that's why I want to share with you. One of the biggest trap, right? All right, in property is that you did not do enough preparation. Okay, I want to be totally upfront. You did not do enough preparation and you are just going with the flow with all the hype going on. And then you just, okay, my affordability is X amount. As long as you don't cross this X amount, I buy. All right, so I'm going to share with you a bonus right now. 5 things, right, we do to help you go ahead in terms of your ballot process. So you have a safer fighting chance and you don't worry and go back and then you nudge your spouse. Did we buy correctly or not? All right, if you ask that question when you are sleeping after the ballot, that means you have not done enough preparation. Okay, I want to be very truthful and upfront here because we have seen many. Buy already, then come and ask us you buy already, they ask us whether you buy correctly or not. Then if I tell you you buy wrongly, and then how? Will you give up? You also unlikely won't give up, right? So prepare yourself, my friends. Okay, remember, on my end, we just want to make sure that you guys are safe and confident of your purchase. And now that Emerald of Katong is being delayed, then you have more time for preparation. Okay, so I'm going to share with you 5 key things. Okay, I want you all to write this down carefully. And the last point is, what's your walk-away price for Emerald of Katong? Very important. Okay, so what's the first point? Your affordability and limitations. What are your own limitations of finances? Have you actually calculated what's the range that you guys can afford without breaking the bank? Actually, for all my clients, right, I share 4 safes. Okay, SAFES in our financial limitations. Okay, we will calculate and make sure that there are 4 safes inside your financial calculation. Without these 4 safes, it's not that you cannot buy, but you'll be more stressed. That's all. Or I don't want more trouble. So I always want to make sure that you guys are safe. You are being taken care carefully. So believe me, because when I say this, because you in the environment with new launches, unfortunately, you'll be pushed to purchase higher and higher, especially when you see the unit you wanted is sold. And then you say, okay, go for higher floor. Then you keep going higher, or you choose another facing, without you realizing you are dumping in 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. We have seen it before. So, and you have no time to react. So today, my role and my team's role is to ensure that you have all these numbers in place, right? So that you know where's your limitation first. Right? Anything crossing above their limitations, how you need a second opinion, you need us to guide you and see that, are you sure? Just by asking you this question, are you sure? It can maybe knock some sense to you lah. Also, that's where our position is. So the second thing is unit selection versus affordability. Again, we don't know the pricing, different facing, different height level, different layout, all different permutation. Today, if you don't know what's your unit selection, going against your affordability, right, you'll be putting yourself in a very high risk situation, right? Because you'll be mad rush to actually buy the wrong property. And because this is a very big ticket item, and you need to make a decision in minutes. So that's why we want to do a lot of all this comparison first. So when you go into better, very fast we can tell you, okay, this is why, this is how safe is this, how should we go about this? So a lot of times when we go into balloting, right, a lot of our clients are looking at us for answers, and we have already prepared ahead for you. So that's how we want to go in together with you. So at the end of the day, when you buy, you come out happy also. You happy, we also happy. So everybody happy together. Then we will see you in the next 3 years so that we can see what we can do later, right? So this one very crucial, and a lot of homeowners, they do their unit selection, okay, but they do it very surface. They just, okay, I just have 5 units and then that's it. But we, like as I mentioned in this video, you all saw how we do it, a lot more details. Okay, we will break it down into stacks, we'll bring in our floors, we'll bring in facing against your limit, against your own affordability. Then we even want to rank the PSF estimates and prices. So we more kiasu lah, we just do more so we no need paiseh one when you want to do all this, because we want to make sure that this is done properly for you. Okay, so very important point number 2. So point number 3 is per floor facing strategy. Okay, so why is this crucial? So If today you choose the wrong floor or the wrong facing or the wrong price, it will potentially break or make your exit strategy. It's either you make a lot or you make lesser. Okay, so that's why this is very crucial. And a lot of homeowners, they buy with the emotion that, oh, I just want the unblocked view, that kind of situation. But if the price of the unblocked view is a little bit more premium, then it may not make more sense, make that sense. Also, we will do all this comparison for you, even floor jump. Okay, so sometimes people say, oh, I just want to go for high floor. Hey, but if the floor level jump is very great, hey, going high floor may not be the best situation because you'll be loading up a lot of cost with just that facing or the height. Yeah, so we want to be very careful with the height floor high or low versus price. Okay, there's always a comparison to price. So that's why we want to get you through across your preferences, your pricing. Then we see potentially per floor jump, does it make sense for us to go higher floor or even lower floor, depending on the facing. Or fourth thing, this is where your best case alternatives. Touch wood, of course, those who are going for it, I also wish that you ballot and then you get your choice units. But what if? Okay, a lot of times our clients work with us because we provide a lot of what ifs. What if this don't work? What if that don't happen? Because prior to ballot, right, you will potentially already know your Q number. If they're within a good numbers, maybe you have a fighting chance to choose the one that you want. But what if it goes beyond? And likely the unit that you wanted already sold, then what's next? So a lot of homeowners, after that, they end of the day, they come out and then they say, then I wait lor. Okay, not that it's wrong to wait. Okay, but we also have preparations for alternatives before you even go for ballot. Why? This is also to allow us to have more reaction time. Because you must remember, my friends, today those who did not did the ballot, okay, they go for ballot, but their numbers cannot make it. Do you agree they will also be looking out for other properties? You see? So you will end up maybe missing out on some of the good deals out there because other people are already doing it. So we always want to prep advance, or prepare in advance in case if the worst case situation happens. Let's cross finger. We just want to be prepared ahead. Of course, I also want you all to smooth ballot and then you all get the unit you all want. Okay. But last but not least, okay, if you have followed through this entire video, right, this is one thing that you don't want to miss. Okay, which is what's your walk away price? Okay, why do I call it as walk away price? Because you must dare to walk away from this project if the price point is not right. If it's over your budget or it's something that you are uncomfortable with and you're kind of being forced to accept. Okay, there's nothing called force in property, to be honest. It's willing party ma. But sometimes you're just uncomfortable and because you need to make such a quick decision in such a short time, you anyhow choose. Okay, this one not buying Thai, not buying veggie. So this is why it's important. So this part is very important. What's the walk away price for Emerald of Katong? All right, so this one, of course, there's a lot of discussion about this. And we have done a lot of research about this. So we only want to come in and using what? Data. Okay, data. Because how many of you, after you put in, do so much work, you dare to walk out from the ballot day? Okay, it's not easy, I tell you. Because the pressure will really be there. Really, like the number one client, he dare to walk out. Q number one, I also shocked. Because most of the people will be what? Condemned to the pressure. Just anyhow choose that. Or really, this is not buying veggie. So please do your homework before. And if you want to reach out for more personalized session, we can go through. So now, to look at walk away price, we have to always look at numbers, look at transactions. So let us just look at this. Okay, let's just go through the comparable properties around the area. So let's just look at Haig Court first. Okay, so Haig Court here, let us take a look. So there are 3 bedrooms, right? We are using 3 bedrooms as an example, right? 3 bedrooms, you can see, let me see. Yeah, okay, 3 bedrooms, they're ranging from 1,000, okay, maybe, 1,339 square feet all the way to 1,450 plus per square foot. Because it's an older development, that's why their sizes are definitely much bigger. And they are already ranging from 2.7 million to 3 million. On an average square feet, close to $2,000 per square foot. So today, right, if you want to buy a 3-bedroom in Haig Court, in nothing less than 2.8, you cannot buy it. Nothing to buy. So 2.8 becomes a benchmark. in terms of pricing. Yes, give and take is older, but people are still willing to pay for it. All right, this is the latest transaction. So if you look at the average, you can see that the average is already 1,920. Okay, let's look at 3 bedroom so that you can see better. Okay, you can see 1,974 per square foot. And if we break it down into the unit mix, the 1,300 to 1,453, their average per square foot is already close to 2,000. So that gives you a benchmark in terms of prices for Haig. Now let's look at a younger property, which is Tembusu Grand. Again, we will use this as a comparison. And we will take a look at what's the average. So again, we will just choose 3 bedroom so that we can see what's the average. Okay. So averagely 2,500 plus per square foot. Okay, but if we go into detail, because there's only 2 configurations for 3 bedrooms, the 990, remember, and the 1173 that I mentioned. So on average, the 990 ranging from 2.288 million to 2.552 million, ranging about 2004 plus to 2005 per square foot. And the bigger unit at 1,173 with the yard, with the bomb shelter, as well as the toilet, it goes at 2.7 million all the way to close to 3 million already. So which means in Tembusu Grand, the bigger units are already at least 2.8 million. So why are they doing this? Because there's a price, there's a support from Haig. That's why they are able to go at this kind of pricing. That's the average. So that's why there's also a reason why Tembusu Grand 990 prices can move. Okay, and they're being sold. So Emerald of Katong kind of fit in between, as I mentioned, in terms of the pricing, because they are bigger. Tembusu Grand are already 2.8 million. So the price support is there for both Haig as well as Tembusu Grand. And not only that, look at the average per square foot. Okay, average per square foot is about 2,005 plus. So that could also become a price support for you. And Tembusu Grand is going to be TOP earlier. And Emerald of Katong is younger and newer. So usually younger and newer should be higher in terms of pricing, right? But this time around, it's a little bit different. So that's why we need to be very careful in terms of understanding how some of all these things work in terms of pricing now. Really, not, if you talk about no price, don't talk. It's all guessing already. Right, so in Tembusu Grand, there's nothing less than 2.6 million. Okay, so anything below for Emerald of Katong, anything below 2.6 million and 990 square feet, I believe it will sell very fast. Okay, because it's the right pricing and it feels a very in-between gap, okay, in terms of both PSF as well as pricing. And since the 1172 square feet at Tembusu Grand right now still have about 2.7 million range, and they are going at about $2,300 per square foot. Also, in terms of per square foot, it's very good. Price point entry is also good. It's just that you may want to wait a little bit longer after you purchase, all right? Because the supporting price there is still a gap, but that's an alternative route for you. Why? Because if you don't want to wait for so long and you want to move in quite immediately, then Tembusu Grand at $2,300 per square foot, you can actually consider. Also, reach out if you need some assistance to see what kind of layout, what kind of pricing we can help you with. So Emerald of Katong, I call it like the sandwich, sandwich type configuration, very in between. So the only thing left, right, is really your ballot number. Leave to chance and hope, because we really don't know, right? So you heng, you get early numbers, great. Then you jackpot, But at the same time, if your numbers are not that great, then what are the other alternatives? You have to be very careful and have some backups. Because I believe Emerald of Katong definitely will be oversubscribed. Looking at the situation and looking at how we have on the ground studies and everything. Because this is a hot project, okay, very hype. So confirm, meaning your ballot number is extremely important. So besides just putting in for ballot, go through the discussion with us, you also may need to what? Pray. Pray that your numbers is good. So for walkaway price, right, for Emerald of Katong, anything, if you can get below 2.7 million, okay, for the 990 square feet, I think it's a no-brainer. Go for it. Okay, anything below 2.7, 990, I think is a very safe option. And PSF wise, try to keep it within the 2006 XX kind of per square foot, you'll be quite safe, okay, in that sense. Anything above, it really depends on the increase in terms of pricing, whether it's the floor level, the facing, how much difference does it make. All right, so I'm just giving you a very general price guide. Okay, it doesn't mean that anything crossing this you don't want to buy. That's why we are here to help you access what's the range. Okay, what's the range that it fits into your own affordability that is safer for you. And if this is not the one, are there something else that we can explore into which makes more sense? So then you no need to worry about whether you can only buy this or not. Most people, why they rush into buying, because they only think they have this choice. But you'll be surprised that there are also other good developments out there with very good pricing that is hidden gem. Or because there's a lot of movement, a lot of hype about some of all these current properties that you may be missing out some of the hidden gems out there. Also, reach out to us so that we can kind of do a comparison and be very impartial about this to see how we can help you in terms of the selection. All right, that's why we do the price comparison, we do the facing selection, we do the price matrix. All these are crucial. All right. So I hope that today with this in detail analysis, it can help you. And really looking forward to actually begin a lot of other new launches development. So do write in the comment what are the developments that you find that you may need help in. All right, maybe we can do a more in-depth analytics and analysis for you for the other upcoming new launches. And for the many of you who really need to get a second opinion from us, I would like you to kind of, let me just do this, just scan the QR code so that we can get in touch with one another. And perhaps there are some areas that you need help in. We can help you to make a better decision, safer decision to lower down your risk as much as possible. All right, so reach out, and if you have any questions, you can always scan the QR code and talk to us. And because Emerald of Katong has been delayed, so it does give us a little bit of window of time that we can help you to assess your situation better and to determine is Emerald of Katong an ideal move for you, or could we have better, safer options in the selection of Emerald of Katong itself. Okay, with that, thank you so much. I really enjoy sharing my analytics, and I want to make sure that you guys are safe. So with that, catch you one day very, very soon. I shall see you in my masterclass, YouTube, or wherever you are. With that, cheers.